Hi, Annie Summary here. This is my recap for the anime Remonster. So if you like my recaps, please consider subscribing. The story begins when a girl is continuously stabbing a guy who is already dead. Still, she is stabbing him like lunatic and having solace by eliminating this jerk from the world. His blood is shedding like stream, but she is not stopping even for a second. It's clear that this girl hates the main character Kanata. Also, the guy has no concern with his name. The thing that is popping around his mind by taking his last breath that he is going to die. By thinking about this, he closes his eyes. When again his eyes open, then he look at the old green man whom he think disgusting. Before closing his eyes, this old man gives him the Goblin name accidentally. Also, he can't object because he is unable to speak or move properly. Still, this old man provides him with worms to eat, which this young green child consumes. Second time, when he awakes up, he realizes he has turned into a green child. Instead, he is surrounded by the kids. It means that in his previous life, he was dead, and he was granted a second life as an abominable creature. Just then, he tries to lift up, but how can a recently born baby walk? By watching himself, he has started weeping because the only thing he can do is cry. And he is doing this job amazingly. On the third day, he has grown up enough to walk on. He must praise goblins, who can grow up fast. Also, his heart is jumping with happiness when he hears his voice. After that, he moves his body to show off his fighting skills. At the same time, he has decided to live this life to the fullest. He is the lucky one who is bestowed with a second life, and he doesn't want to waste it. On his fourth day, Old Man again arrives with their meal. But also, he has brought bad news, in which they have to hunt their own. This is going to be their last meal that he has brought for them. As they need to catch their prey, they have started eating the worms as if they haven't eaten since they were born. To take the bird's eye off the outside, Gobru comes out of the cave. Here he looks at the sun, which is the same as in his previous life. But the plants and animals around this place are totally opposite. To chase him, Gubkichi arrives. He is a Gobru fellow like others. As he seems stronger than all of the others, he has made it his mind to make him his partner. For prey, they are roaming around the forest. At the same time, they observe the rabbit, who has a horn. Gubkichi has started chasing the rabbit, who is running away to save his life. Gobru, who is on the tree waiting for his turn, jumps on the earth and cramps the head of the rabbit with a stick. Now, it's their first hunt, and Gubkichi wants to consume it as soon as possible. But Gobru doesn't permit him to smash the wooden stick many times on his face. How can he forget to share the food? Actually, Gobru taught him his first lesson, to live a life. Also, he has torn apart the horn of the rabbit. In reality, he is going to use this horn as a weapon. Besides, Gubkichi's mouth is watering from watching the meat of a rabbit. Now, he can't ignore him, and he has allowed him to enjoy the meal. While taking a merciless bite, he is thankful to Gobru. Because of him, he is eligible to have this mouth-watering rabbit. On the fifth day, they are using the same strategy to hunt. This time, Gobru has killed the rabbit by penetrating the horn. Within a few seconds, he sensed that he had obtained the most legendary horn, because it can be used as a weapon. Now, he has two horns that he can use as weapons. By ignoring him, Gubkichi is satisfying his stomach by eating the lavish rabbit meat. When he tastes the rabbit, he can sense that he has obtained the ability to escape. But how can it happen? It only happens because he still has the ability of his previous life, which is absorption. By availing of it, he can absorb the animal's powers. In this world, all his abilities are going to reset. Now, he has to wait for his prey to jump on him. Rather, he chases the rabbit and penetrates the horn in his body to eliminate it. Observing this, Gubkichi is stunned at how amazing his personality is. Ignoring him, he offers him a horn to use as a weapon. And he is surprised to think that there are many unexplored animals with abilities. Thinking about this, a smile appears on his face. On his sixth day, he is with his friends. Here, Gobni is shouting after hearing they have already hunted the horned rabbit. She has been inspired by Gobru and praises him. While praising, her cheeks have become red, but she has become obsessed with him. She can imagine the mouth-watering taste of a horned rabbit. Also, Gubkichi wants to listen to his praise and flattery, but she ignores him. Her center of attention is Gobru. By seeing her excitement, he has given her an offer to join them next morning. Unfortunately, it is raining on the seventh day. He is unable to fulfill his promise. It has to be extended. But he can't waste this day, so he moves to explore the material. By finding them, he can create a deadly weapon. Examining the cave, he has found the material. Not only this, he has found the naked woman. He has no idea what these women are doing, but he has no time to think about them. So, he turns his attention to making a lethal weapon. Before he thinks further, an old man joins him who is inspired by his powers. He knows he can level up quickly and also evolve. But this conversation is beyond his imagination until he knocks on his head. Just then, he has realized his level is 86. To evolve, he needs to raise 100. When he reaches 100, he can evolve into a hobgoblin, but only one can turn into hobgoblin, and he can go to Gobru. Also, this old man reveals that hobgoblin, who has already evolved, is going to come here, and he is shocked at the prey he will bring for them. On the next day, Gobmi also joined them by hitting the creature with her weapon, and Gobro chases the other crawling creature. And last, Gubkichi is on the front, smashing the creature with his wooden weapon. Together, they create an unbeatable team. Just then, they started eating their food. Gobmi is thankful to Gobru because of him, she is eligible to have Thai meat. On the other hand, Gobru can also absorb its many abilities. He now has the venom and evil eye to knock his enemy. He is pleased because this snake has increased his ability. Gubkicho distracts his attention by inquiring about the head of the snake. He desires to have a head of steam, but Gobru doesn't permit him because he can be dead meat by swallowing it. Also, Gobru has made up his mind to survive in this world. Doesn't matter how difficult life can be here. Meanwhile, on the 9th and 10th days, they have made equipment to beat the enemy. On the 11th day, they figure out the cave and decide to explore it, but they have no idea how challenging this cave can be. While stepping in, they confront the red eyes. Soon, they realize that groups of bats want to chew them. Without having a second thought, they rush back. Gobru asks Gobmi to run away and orders Gubchiko to create a shield for him, and he uses evil eyes. Through this attack, everyone has been frozen. By doing so, he can hunt the bats with his weapon. One by one, he is obliterating their breath. After that, they are enjoying their meal. This time, Gobru has gained the Vamp Up ability. A new animal is giving him new abilities. From the distance, 3 goblins are keeping an eye on them. They are getting jealous of him because they are having mouth-watering meals, and they are dying from hunger because they don't know how to hunt. To teach them a lesson, when everyone has slept, they try to beat Gobru, but they have no idea they have messed up with the wrong person. With a few moves, he has compelled them to say sorry. He has knocked 6 goblins, and they are watching at him by holding their breath. At the same time, he uses venomous abilities, but they go wrong because he has no control over them. Gobmi, who has awoke, was pissed when she realized they wanted to kill her Gobru. In wrath, she hops in to kill them. Before she elects them, Gobru holds her and restrains her from pursuing her ulterior motives. Also, he assures her that he is perfectly fine, so she shouldn't beat them up. On the 13th day, they decided to catch Orc. First of all, Gobmi gives him a strong hit with her weapon. After that, Gubkicho tries to overpower him, but he is pushed away. When Gobmi relays, he hit Gubkicho, and then she again threw stones at him. As a result, it has injured his fingers, and he has fallen to the ground. Gobru takes the lead and kills him by penetrating the horns in his body. Later, they started eating. By eating the orc meat, he has learned to detect and analyze. As they are full, Gobru asks them to pack the meal. He has packed the meal for his fellows who don't know about the hunting. By watching their meal, they are about to get mad and start eating like lunatics. They are grateful to Gobru, who has given them hearty food. In his previous life, he didn't bother to think about the weak. But in his new life, he has learned many things and decided to help the needy and weak goblins. While sleeping, something tormented him in his dream. It's an evolving system that wants their permission to evolve. Because he has reached 100 levels, the sleepyhead has granted him permission. Consequently, on the 14th day, his personality changed. He has become hobgoblin and human-likely handsome. Not only Gobru but also Gubkichu have transformed into hobgoblin. Just then, Old Man arrives, and his eyes widen because 2 of them have evolved. It's the first time in his life that he looks at Goblin to evolve in a month. Aside from this, Gubkicho is excited to fight with Gobru. With a smile, he has approved his request. By moving outside, they have started combating. They have remarkably good fighting skills, and Gobru is faster than his imagination. With a few moves, he has knocked down Gubkicho. Lion is always lion, it doesn't matter who he fights with. Secretly, Gobmi is keeping an eye on them, but Gobru, who has a hawk eye, knows about her presence. Also, he has realized that there is impending danger, and he tells Gobmi to bring her crossbow. There is a wolf pack that is hunting the horned rabbit. Within a second, they had consumed them, and their next prey is orc, which is also not challenging for them. They have shattering the orc in a blink of an eye. Just then, Gobru is glad because they can test their new powers on them. At the same time, Gobmi attacked one of them with her crossbow, and they also step inside the fight with their weapons. With his wooden weapon, Gubkicho is beating them up, and Gobru is knocking them down with his lethal weapon. In no time, the wolf's dead bodies are laying on the floor, but one of them is angrily watching them. As he is also wounded, he can't stand on his foot any longer, and he falls apart on the ground. Just then, Gobru has realized that he is the leader, and he has decided to prey on him. With his sharp jaw, he has eaten him and gained the ability to order. After consuming, they took all the meat from his pack. They are again pleased to have the meat of a wolf. In exchange, he wants their favor. Also, he is humble and kind enough to teach them hunting. By hearing this, they are glad because they are not going to die from hunger. In addition, he is again doing favors to teach them to make weapons. In this life, his only purpose is to eat, and he can also make friends. Next day, Gobru wakes up. Gobji is worried, watching the sky-high flames in front of him. On day 17th, these women committed suicide by drinking poison and setting themselves on fire. Elder goblins regret their sad demise but can't do anything now. On the day 26th, Gobru trains the goblins of his age regularly, but in spite of improving their skill and stamina, he also ate many valuable enemies that remarkably increased his stamina and power. Gobru struggles to reach the finish post as she is tired of the exhausting exercise. Suddenly, they see someone coming towards them. Gobru gets ready with his sword to fight uninvited intruders. But at the same time, Elder Goblin stops them hastily, as these are not their enemies. They are parent goblins, and as they approach them, Gobru was astonished to see human captives with them. A muscular goblin, Hobkin, is so happy to bring the good stuff to feast on. Gobru looks at the innocent faces of the healthy young girls tied in a rope and feels pity for them. He knows that if goblins interbreed with humans, there is a greater chance that the offspring will be goblins, because their genes dominate most of the time. Gobru walks towards Hobkin and casually asks him to let him keep them. That infuriates Hobkin, and he grabs Gobru from his collar to ask such a foolish question at such a tender age. Elder Goblin immediately comes to stop them. But what surprises him is that all the goblins that Gobru has been training in the past few days draw their swords, and gets ready to stand beside him in case of any conflict. Suddenly, two girls try to calm them down by suggesting a truce between Gobru and Hobkin. They both are the most potent, but she knows that a fight without weapons will decide who is more powerful. Hence, whoever wins from them will lead them from now on. Hobkin is so sure of his muscular body and strength that he immediately accepts the challenge. The fight begins and ends in a couple of moments, because Gobru ties Hobkin in the thread that emerges from his fingers as a part of his body. It's not a weapon but a powerful tool to defeat the opponent. Gobru learned to make spider thread from Spider Demon, which is quite handy now. He wants Hobkin to disappear now, as according to the agreement, he is the winner and leader now. He now turns towards the numerous goblins standing and asks if they accept him as their leader. Everyone agrees without a complaint, while Hobkin lies on the ground miserably tied to the spider strings. Afterward, he goes to the captive girls and promises them protection and safety. He ensures that they will not be harmed here during their stay. Moreover, he will return them to their village as soon as possible. The human girls are so surprised at the compassionate behavior of a goblin. One of the girls asks what he wants in return for their freedom and for saving their lives. Gobru assures them that he wants nothing. If anything, he would only like to acquire human knowledge. Later, he finds out the details about the women. They went out hunting with a group of men and women. But on the way, goblins found and killed all their men. They saved the 5 women and brought them with them here. The girls tell their story and begin crying miserably. Gobru does not stand there and leave them alone to mourn the loss. The next day is the 28th, and Gobru is surprised to see the girls lookably fresh now. He comforted them by making the food using the ingredients found in the looted items. But he admits that human food is far superior to goblin food. It refreshed his mind, which is best for a healthy brain. He learns many things from them. Unlike goblins, they grow up and learn many skills, while goblins only evolve in higher-level goblins. Among those 5 girls, one is a blacksmith. 2 girls among them are sisters, and they can cook food well. The other girl, with glasses on her eyes, is a chemist. That leaves the red-haired girl, who looks like a fighter. But under these circumstances, she is useless. On the other hand, the goblins perform challenging exercises and fall after getting dead tired. Gobru gathers them all and makes for the coming days. Unlike their traditional style of living, they will not go on hunting for a few days. He wants them to focus on learning and exercise. Hobkin dislikes it but agrees anyway. On day 31st, they retreat to a cave, and to spare themselves from boredom, Gobru and Gobkichi fight to improve their swordsmanship. But the terrible thing happened that night, as Gobru had expected from goblins. They reach the sleeping human girls and look at them as their prey. At the same time, Gobru grabs and beats the attacking goblins. Then he ties all of them in the spider web emerging from his fingers. This time, he is so angry that goblins attack the girls at night despite his warning. Hobkin was leading the clan, but after tying them, he apologizes to the red-haired girl. But she starts crying and hugs Gobru. At the same time, other goblins arrive there as they want to know what's happened. He orders them to take the offenders outside as he wants to punish them in front of everyone, which will set an example for all. He hangs the Hopkin upside down and ensures everyone follows his rules. That following morning, he found Hibkin dead. On day 32nd, they face a scaly white horse running towards them. Gibkichi and Gobru attack the horse, break its tough scales, and then kill it. But as soon as Gobru eats that horse's flesh, it fills him with immense energy and gives him numerous skills, which includes quick healing and quick proficiency skills. One of the skills is triple thrust, which surprisingly struck the target 3 times when he struck it only once. That is why the Trihorn horse is a strong enemy. Gobru opens his eyes as someone shakes his bed in sleep. He opens his eyes and finds the red-haired girl before him. She silently lies beside him on the bed. Gobru remains silent as he thinks she is afraid of what happened last night. But he opens his eyes on the next day, with both his arms stretched out under the head of the girl and Gobni. Gobru is happy with the training. All the training is divided into different units, and his friends lead each unit. That day, Gobru did not stay with his training unit. After allotting each group, he decided to go into the forest to search for prey. He finds a Trihorn horse and aims at it with the first level magic. It strikes right at the spot and kills the target. Now, Gobru feels more comfortable using magic and keeps walking more profoundly into the forest. After some time, he realized that he had come so far. Suddenly, he watches a blood spot around a track and remembers the lesson of the elder goblin he received in the early days, that he must never walk towards the north of the forest, because that is where the deadly red bear lives. Not much time has passed since he saw the giant, scary red bear standing before him. Its grand size and roar are sufficient to frighten any fragile heart. Anyone other than Gobru would have run away from the forest by now. But he plans to kill and win the fight. He wants to enjoy its flesh. He once again activates the first level demise magic for the fight and throws it toward the red bear. On the other hand, Gobni is worried that Gobru has been away for so long. By that time, he would have returned, but no one had seen him yet. But they hope he will be fine and return to them soon. On the other hand, the bear survives Gobru's magic attack by detaching his arm. Now, it attacks with its claws, but Gobru jumps to strike its body with the sword. But surprisingly, the bear's body is so strong that the blade never made any cut. Now, Gobru wraps the bear in the spider web emerging from his hand. But in a few moments, the bear unties itself and throws a fire at Gobru. It sets the whole area on fire while Gobru hides behind a tree. It's surprising for Gobru that a bear can stand a temperature as high as 2,000 degrees. But now he decides to comfort it no matter what and comes out from behind the tree. He runs towards the red bear after wrapping himself in ice and strikes the sword in the red bear's face. For a moment, he thinks that he has won the fight, but the bear throws him away by its head, and Gobru's body begins bleeding. His previous successful attack has effectively stopped the red bear from emitting fire, as the sword is stuck between its throat. Now, all it can make is noise. Looking at the red bear, Gobru can judge that its energy is at its peak. While he can feel the weakness in his body, he knows that one more attack from the red bear can take his life. Things are not in his favor, and he has to make more effort. But the effort and fighting make him enjoy his meal better. So, he will fight with all his might to achieve victory over the scary beast. Determined to eat it, Gobru runs towards the red bear and attacks it with the spear in his hand. He jumps on the top and pierces the spear in its body. Once again, he strikes the bear's body with an axe, and the bear attacks Gobru. In the next moment, Gobru loses his arm, but he wins over the red bear. It's day 34 and injured Gobru sits tired on the ground. The red bear's body is in front of him, and he begins chewing its flesh. As soon as he eats it, he gains enormous strength and stamina. But Gobru suffered heavy damage. Now, Gobru's strength and level have surpassed, and he is again given a choice. He has fulfilled all the requirements needed to become Lord Slayer. Now, he has gained more power and a supremacy path. He can level up himself to the ogre rare species. With the high level of damage, Gobru feels that he is not in his senses. He is fast losing his consciousness. But before that, the system asks him if he wants to promote himself to the ogre rare species. In order to evolve, he has to choose yes, just like the way he did last time when he was promoted from an ordinary goblin to this appearance. He finally chooses yes. Gobru stays in the forest for the day 35th too. He eats the flesh of a red bear and gains the ability to howl of the mountain, a threatening ability, and the ability to tolerate everything. The dead bear lies in front of him, and he grabs his knife to peel its skin. But as he takes out his knife, he feels a significant decrease in its size. Not knowing what he has changed into, Gobru has started looking into a giant-sized muscular ogre. He lost their arm and has a red pattern on his body. The goblins look at him and fail to recognize him as one of them and their leader. As soon as he stands in front of them, they start running, thinking that ogres have attacked them. Gobru keeps silent and enjoys their reactions. Goblins get more frightened when they see that the giant ogre is smiling. He tries to utter the words, but before he can tell that, he has returned to his own home. Gobmi attacks him by kicking his body, but his muscular body is so invincible that she falls as if struck with a rock. She moans with pain, lying on the ground. Meanwhile, Gobru finally tells him that it's him. They get so angry for disappearing for so long, while Gobji feels so excited to see his transformation and evolution into a much more powerful species. It's almost unbelievable for the villagers. They suspect he must have eaten the red bear to earn this level. The elder goblin is astonished that he has seen no one evolve so fast. 1 month after his birth, he evolved into an ogre. Defeating the Lord of the North Forest is not easy for anyone. He receives praise from everyone and asks questions about his adventure, while Jimmy scolds him as she always does. Gobru feels so happy that he survived the attack and finally reached back home. This place finally became his home. If you enjoy my recaps, please like this video and comment part 3 for next episode.